Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my wonderful, intelligent, gorgeous, very hardworking Disney Deluxe villa-loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Well, thank you, honey, and hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are actually recording this episode on Friday, March 20th, 2026, and it's dropping on Sunday, March 22nd, 2026. Michelle, why are we recording this on an odd day again?
I know, we're back to being the odd days. Well, that's because we have some very special things coming up this weekend, one of which is being able to try out the brand new reimagined tea over at the Grand Floridian Resort. And Sunday, we also have a big day ahead for that. So this seemed to be the most desirable way to do our show this time.
We were kind of, we had our hands tied a little bit, but we're happy to get this show out here for you because it's fun. It's going to be exciting and you're going to love it. Yes, we are going to the Garden View Lounge Tea Experience, the brand new reopening of the old classic, kind of refurbished, shined up. It looks a little different. But we're excited to experience that for the first time since it's reopening. It just opened as we were talking yesterday.
Right.
And we're going to get the chance out there to experience a nice, wonderful afternoon tea for ourselves.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, and we'll tell you all about that probably on next week's episode or maybe a little bit during the week too on the Hyperion Mornings show. So be tuned to that. We do have a great topic for you. Michelle has done a phenomenal job with our topic today. But before we get to that main topic, we are the Disney podcast of positivity. So before we move forward, we like to take a little bit of a look back and find those high moments, those wonderful moments, those positive moments from the week that was. We call it My Favorite Thing from This Week. When we do this, well, of course, we start with Michelle. She's amazing. She's wonderful. She's a great little bread baker, as we found out today. We already knew that, but she made another great loaf today. She does the best research. She definitely hands out the best trip planning tips. She also has the very best My Favorite Thing from this week. So, Michelle, what was your favorite thing from this week?
Well, my favorite thing of this week actually recently happened, and that was that we received some slightly optimistic news about a dear friend of ours who's been struggling with some real serious health issues of late. And she recently got some news that sounds like things might be progressing in a more positive way, and her healthcare team has a new plan that hopefully will continue with that. Kelly, you're in our thoughts and prayers, and we're definitely hoping to be able to see you next month. But that was at least some really good news to finally hear some optimism in the report out.
Yeah, it seems like things are going in the right direction, which is good because I know they've been struggling with that for a while. So getting a bit of an update and still fingers crossed. It's still a lot to go here, but things are looking better. At least it seemed like an optimistic view of what's to come. So that was good.
Yeah. What about you?
Mine was, we celebrated our 21st anniversary this week. And boy, I couldn't be happier to celebrate 21 years with my sweetheart. It wasn't we're really planning the tea experience is really celebrating our 21st anniversary. That's kind of our big anniversary shindig that we're doing. We didn't really do much as we celebrated it, but we did have a really nice kind of laid back evening together to enjoy it.
Yeah. Obviously that was a big highlight for me as well this week. And as you said, we have more of the celebration to come tomorrow. That's what we're really shooting for in terms of how we're treating this anniversary. And I am just so over the hill blessed that I have you as my husband. I am just so much in love with you.
Well, I'm blessed and I'm also over the hill, as we all know. So yes, I'm very thrilled to have been spent 21 years plus. I mean, 21 years is just since we've been actually officially married. We spent more than 21 years together, and they've been the best 21 years, and hopefully many more years going forward on this Hyperion adventure. All right. Speaking of this Hyperion adventure, let's go ahead and move forward with this week's show. We do have a few things for you this week. It was not a lot this week, well, I'll be honest with you, but we do have a couple things, including, of course, the big news. We had a change at the top of the Walt Disney Company, and there were some additional announcements that came along with that. And if you think we're going to talk about it, you better believe it. That's right.
I see what you did there.
Right. We'll be talking about that here in a little bit, but that's all later. Let's go ahead and get to our very excellent Deluxe Disney Villa main topic of the week. So Michelle, many people are making their plans for Disney, whether it be for summer, whether it be coming up for the Halloween season, whether it be coming up for the holiday season, lots of stuff going on. And maybe you're a fan of regularly staying at the value resorts, or maybe you're somebody who likes the moderate resorts. Well, maybe you've always wondered, is a deluxe villa right for me? Well, I have good news for you, because Michelle is going to explain to you today maybe a few things that maybe a deluxe villa might be something you want to think about for your next Disney trip. Right, Michelle?
Right. I mean, we know it's not for everyone or for every visit, but maybe you are looking for some way to have a special trip or celebrate something, and you really are looking for that and wondering, is it possible that I could stay at a Disney Village resort? Now, we recognize it's a big expense. It's more than what the other resorts are charging. But we're going to look today at some ways of maybe kind of honing in and closing that gap for your budget between the Disney Vacation Villa Resort and a regular whether it's mid-level, moderate or value. And some ways maybe to offset some costs that can help you, again, make it work for your budget.
Well, you know, Michelle always has the best tips. And this sounds like an episode full of tips. So I can't wait to hear what she has to say about some of these Disney Villa resorts and if they're right for you. You decide for yourself, but she's going to break it down for you. So go ahead, Michelle, take it away.
All right. So let's first start at some discount offers, because that's one way of, again, getting the gap between what you may have originally budgeted to what you're considering if you want to do that. And what I did to take a look at this is compared a moderate resort. I keep wanting to say mid-level. A moderate resort when I picked Port Orleans, because that's one that was available when I went online to get these price quotes, compared to a studio at a villa resort, which I found Disney Springs had that. Now,
Saratoga Springs,
yes.
It's very near Disney Springs, so I get it.
Thank you.
Saratoga Springs, right next to Disney Springs. Yes.
But anyways, and I'm also using right now that there are some discounts being offered, and we've seen those throughout the year. Right now for the summer, they have 30% for anybody that wants to come to Walt Disney World. They have 35% off, the high up to 35% off for Florida residents and up to 40% off for annual pass holders. For our example today, I took that mid-level one. I know not everyone is a Florida resident, but just kind of having one number to compare and looking at the prices. And if you're looking at the price for a Port Orleans, and what I did was I took 4 days, June 21st through the 26th. It's a Sunday through Friday. And I put in that it was for 2 adults and 2 kiddos. I just picked random ages, 12 and 4. And what we see in that breakdown is Port Orleans is at $252 a night, and Saratoga Springs is at $318 a night. So not a huge difference there. We recognize it is a difference of $66 for the whole. I said 4 nights. Excuse me. It's 5 nights. For the whole 5 nights, it's only a difference of $330 total. So what is, first of all, the difference that you get in these types of rooms? Now, for Port Orleans, it is a 315 square foot room, and Saratoga Springs is 355. So you get some more space there. But also what you get at Saratoga Springs that isn't available, and I have nothing against Port Orleans. I love Port Orleans.
Love Port Orleans.
Yeah.
Port Orleans is fantastic.
But just to have that, again, making...
And they're both, it's a deluxe villa. Saratoga Springs is a deluxe villa, but it very much is a moderate. So there's things that you love about moderates.
Right.
It's kind of very similar in the stature and everything else about it.
Exactly. But in addition to a larger room, you do get also a kitchenette that has a microwave, toaster, dishes, and flatware. Now both resorts would have a mini fridge and coffee maker, so that's not. But you also get a split bathroom that has two showers. So one is a walk-in shower and one is a tub shower. So you have a little bit more, especially if you're with a family, ability to have those 2 shower features, which we saw as definitely a benefit recently when we were on our Run Disney, that we were both dying when we came in and could shower simultaneously.
It's also a benefit that someone can be showering. I mean, yes, there's one shower that's separated from where the toilet is, but someone can be showering and the others in the room can be using the other things that you need to use at various times during the day. And it's not like, we can't get in there because Bobby's in there taking a shower,
right,
or mom's in there taking a shower or whatever. So that's kind of helpful in that regard as well.
100%. The other thing that you get at Saratoga Springs or at all the Disney villa resorts is a balcony. And unlike the moderates or even the value, where you do have a window, but it's usually just to the hallway to get into the room. This is really a nice feature. And we're going to go into more details of the benefits of that having a patio, but I do want to point it out here. That is something that is available that is different from the other resorts.
It is a nice thing to have when you're at a resort. I mean, a lot of times your stays at Disney parks will be about the parks. You're going to get out to the parks, but every once in a while, maybe the little ones are taking a little nap. Maybe you just need some time in the evening or middle of the day, or even in the morning to take the day a little bit more slowly, and being able to sit out and having a cup of coffee or having a glass of wine, or just sitting out and relaxing and just decompressing for a little bit is very nice addition to your vacation. So having that ability to have that balcony to do that conveniently is very helpful.
Exactly. And we're going to go into a lot more detail about that benefit. But now the next option that you have of being able to close that gap in the budgeting is considering renting DVC points. Now, one thing I want to point out is that it is legal to do that. Disney does allow for it as long as the individual who is renting their points out, whether they do it on their own or through a company, they're not doing it for commercial purposes. So there are several companies out there that you can explore if you want to consider this as well as one of your options. Now, again, doing the comparison using the same dates and the same resort. This is, what I found out, that Port Orleans, with that Florida resident discount, total for those 5 nights was $1,260. Now, Saratoga Springs, with the higher percentage, because it is a deluxe resort, would be a cost of $1,590. Now, if you were to rent, and now this is just one example with one company for this particular time, the cost of renting for that same time frame, Saratoga Springs studio, is $1,400. So that really does start bringing that gap between Port Orleans and Saratoga Springs as examples, really down to only $140 difference for the entire stay.
Which is huge. And just a reminder, the deluxe villas, they are mostly considered DVC resorts. And so, yes, you can rent the points for DVC resorts. But just because it's a DVC resort does not mean you cannot pay to stay there. If you really wanted to stay someplace there, you're like, oh, well, that's a DVC resort. Or they're opening up a new resort. And they're like, oh, but that's a DVC resort. No, those are open for, yes, people with using points, but also those who are not DVC members at all and want to pay and have those rooms.
Right. And that's how when you go on the Walt Disney World website, you will see, where you have the pricing. You can include the villas, not just deluxe resorts, but villas on your selection choice. And that's where, my pricing strategy came up with.
And also a reminder about renting points is, yes, you gave a price here that you found on one of the sites that is a regular for renting DVC points out. But that can be a variable thing too. Sometimes it may be higher, depending on the time of year, depending on the contract, whatever else. Sometimes it may be even lower than this. Shop around, look and see what you can find. Just make sure that it is something that has gotten good reviews and is a legitimate DVC rental points company.
Good point.
You definitely check on that. Don't just find something and, oh, this is great, because if it's too good to be true, it oftentimes is. So just verify.
Yeah. And different sites make it easier in terms of just being able to pick dates and which location and find that. Other times that what they do is have you enter information and then they email it back to you or contact you otherwise. So, just to give you some options to consider, again, how can something so expensive become a little bit more reasonable, and, to consider that, hey, in this particular example, for $140 more, you could have a deluxe studio versus a moderate level resort, seems pretty nice to consider as an option.
Right. Also remember that because you're renting DVC points does not make you like a temporary DVC member.
Right.
So you do not get the special things that go along with being a DVC member just because you're renting their points. But that doesn't mean you can't still get the great room for a semi-reasonable price.
Right. And you still would have things that are available to every guest. But anyways, so the other way that you can kind of, again, work with your budget is considering some ways to save costs. We talked about the discounts, but some of the other ways you can do that is because you do have, for example, even in a studio, a little kitchenette, maybe you might want to save a little money on food. Now, I'm not saying give up your vacation and become a cook or chef there, but some little things like saving on 1 or 2 breakfasts could really help with your budgeting. And it's easy to have some, especially breakfast items, in these deluxe studios. You have the mini fridge for the milk. If you want yogurt, you can have cereal, bread for toast or whatever, or pastries, a lot of different options. But when you look at the price, even of quick service restaurants for breakfast, it can add up. And if you can exclude 1 or 2 of those in your trip, it can, again, help get that budget closer to where it's workable for you.
Right. And a lot of these resorts, knowing that they service DVC members and people with kitchenettes or full kitchens, if you go into at least one of their shops on location, they will have many, many grocery items there that we've found are not that different in price from if you were to actually go for a grocery store or have food delivered to your room. So even if you think last minute, like, oh, I've got this room, some nice little breakfast things, some English muffins or some cereal, like
Donuts.
you mentioned, with milk, something simple like that would be nice to have. You can find often those in those shops, but also you can have food delivered that you may need to your room. There's many, many ways to do that. Do some research, find out online the different people that provide that, but most of them just because you probably have used them in your home as well. You can do that at the Disney resorts too.
Absolutely. And we have even found at the stores, and, don't be afraid to go in. I think they give that feeling that they are DVC stores, but anybody can go in them. If you do have, obviously, if you have DVC, you get a discount, but also annual pass holders get discounts in there. We have even found some of their beers and wines there that are reasonably priced, So again, if it's like Tom said, if it's a last minute thought of, hey, this would be nice to sit on the balcony and have a beer or have a glass of wine. It's still a nice opportunity.
Right. Or as Michelle mentioned, I mean, especially breakfast. I mean, trying to get out and getting a breakfast, maybe you're on the rush in the morning, or maybe you're just not huge breakfast eaters and you don't want to, try and hunt down what you might want. Something simple that, the family likes to kind of get your day started and get started quickly. Definitely, because one of the things you get, remember, you're staying at a Disney resort, you're going to get early entry. If you can get the crew riled up and out the door early enough, man, that extra half an hour can be super beneficial, especially for some of the hard to get attractions when you're there. So anything you can do to kind of move things along, including some simple breakfast foods, getting the group going, is very helpful.
Right. And especially if you have like a picky eater and have something that they really like and available. It makes for a smoother vacation for all, but it, like you said, it helps just with the flow of getting things going. As I mentioned, even in the studios, the Villa studios have, some of them have just like disposable dishes and flatware. Some of them have actual dishes and actual silverware. So that's already available to you. And if you need more, you just contact housekeeping for that. Now, and we're going to talk a little bit more about one bedrooms, but since we're talking about trying to save some money on food and everything, the one bedrooms on up have full kitchens, all the appliances. So you have a full-size refrigerator and freezer, oven, stove, microwave, all the dishes, even, the serving utensils and pots and pans and things, anything you could think of like that you would need. They really come well stocked.
Yeah. So if you want to cut back on your park food costs, like we do, this is like when we're staying someplace that has the full kitchen, which is, obviously that's a splurge on that price, but there are benefits of that if you're going to be planning to do that anyways. Like we will do breakfast usually in the rooms. We'll have lunch out in the parks, and then we'll come back and we'll have dinner back in the room because that seems, a little bit more pricey. So we will tend to do that. And then you're not eating 3 meals at the parks.
Right.
And as that adds up on you, sometimes that also works into your equation on whether these rooms are right for you. Also, I want to mention this, even for the studios, like one of the benefits of it, having the microwave there and having the refrigerator. I mean, all the Disney resorts usually have a little refrigerator in there, but having the ability to do both within your room makes it a lot. If you're out somewhere at the parks and there's a meal that you don't quite finish, you're like, oh, but what am I going to do with it afterwards? Well, now you can actually bring that back to your room and reheat it if necessary, because you have that microwave, because you have the refrigerator to keep it. So in some ways, you're also cutting that and saving some of the food. There's a little bit less food waste when you're out.
That's a real good point. Yeah. That's a real good point. And even if you are going to get quick service at your at your resort, it just is more comfortable bringing that back to one of the deluxe villas, whether it's a studio or even better, the one bedrooms and up. It's just a lot more convenient. You're not feeling like, oh, am I sitting on a bed or do I have to put the bed up, get the table, things like that. It's just, again, making that vacation seem that much more special.
Exactly.
So another way that you can consider to save some money is by maybe cutting out a day or more out of your park scheduling. If you're not buying a full package where you're getting park days for the entire stay, but buying park tickets, maybe you reduce by 1 or more days. I mean, the villas have really standout amenities, things that you can do that really, if you're thinking about a family of 4 cutting out even 1 day, you're saving quite a bunch of money there. Again, bringing that budgeting back in line a little bit to make this considered. They have a lot of very unique activities. Like they have different types of, they call it Disney Family Fitness Fun. They have like story time yoga. They have Tai Chi. They have free pickleball lessons, for example, at Bay Lake Tower, canoeing at Fort Wilderness, which it's not free, but I think it's like $8 or $10, something very inexpensive there. Some other free activities at Animal Kingdom Lodge. You can learn about animals and a lot of things because they actually have some counselors there that are, ambassadors to Africa. Play bocce ball at the Riviera. I mean, and our favorite is at Wilderness Lodge, the Wonders of the Lodge Art and Architect Tour. But that's just scratching the surface of so many fun, either free or very low cost activities.
And virtually all the Disney resorts have some sort of that. Just some of the deluxe villas just seem to have a little bit more of that going on. And sometimes it's just, you're at the Poly, just how nice is the Poly, and just, being there at the Poly or the Wilderness Lodge, and how wonderful that is. The fact that you can just walk out and be sitting in this nice, wonderful lobby at the Wilderness Lodge, especially maybe during holiday time,
right.
You're going to go there anyway because the decorations are so spectacular. It's just really nice.
Yeah. If you're looking at, for example, pools at the deluxe villas do tend to offer you way more, definitely more than the value resorts, and still, more than what you would see at the moderate resorts. They, have water slides, they have activities, it's just usually a lot more theming involved in their pools that, again, if you're looking for a way to spend a day not at the parks, there's a lot that they offer at their villas. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing that they have at all the vacation villas or the deluxe villas are community centers. And you can go in there, and they do have some things that you can do add-ons for more money, but they do have some free activities, coloring, different types of little games, et cetera, that they are different at each one. And so go in and check those out as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, all right. So now that we talked about some ways of making maybe a little bit more financially manageable, let's take a look at some of the things that make it more special, make it more comfortable for you. Space can equal joy for sure. So we talked a little bit earlier about the square footage, and I wanted to bring up a few more concepts of square footage. For Pop Century and All-Star, which are the value resorts, those are typically 260 square feet. The deluxe villas, they do range depending on which resort you're staying at, but Beach Club, for example, is 356 square feet. Animal Kingdom Lodge, 366. The Poly Tower, the new tower, they have a range from either 410 square feet up to 447 square feet. So you are definitely, even if you're looking at a value or moderate compared to a studio, you're still getting a lot more space for you there.
Right. And that's if you're trying to fit a family of 4 into one of these spaces, just a few extra feet can really be a lifesaver in so many ways. Sometimes you just kind of need that, just a little bit more room within that room itself.
Right. And again, just you have a couch there, so a way to sit and watch TV and hang out. We mentioned you have the balconies that have usually a couple chairs and a little table. If you're just talking about sitting around or having snacks or eating a meal, you don't have to sit on beds per se. They have little tables in the rooms as well. So it's just a little more comfortable, a little
Again,
more special.
You're trying to fit, it's one thing if you're 2 people. It's another thing if you're a family of 4 or even 5.
Right.
Trying to fit in one of these rooms, it can be a little tricky. So any more space is a good thing.
Exactly. Now, we want to talk a little bit about the 1-bedrooms because those are available to you. And again, those are going to be more expensive. But we thought we'd do some comparisons as well here. And what we're looking at is a family suite at the Art of Animation. So that's a moderate resort, but they do have the family suites there. It's not a villa. In comparison to that, to a villa room, the 1-bedroom. So I picked dates that I could find some comparisons to be able to do it. And in this particular case, it is July 26th through the 30th of this year, which is a Sunday through Thursday. Now, for the family suite Art of Animation, the cost is $491 a night. And that's, again, with the discount that's currently going on. And the size of that is 565 square feet. It does give you a separate bedroom and a living room area. Now, comparing that with the Saratoga Springs one bedroom, same time frame exactly, we're looking at $423 a night.
So it's Florida resident deal.
For Florida resident, which is still less than the Lion King family suite. Okay. Now, I will say the Art of Animation family suites do have 2 bedrooms, and the villas, some do, some don't. If they don't have it, they do have that split bathroom. But looking at, for example, this one with Saratoga Springs, it's 714 square feet compared to the Art of Animation 565 square feet. So you're talking a fair amount difference. In the Art of Animation, they do also have a table with chairs, but it's also the one that becomes a bed. Whereas at the villas, you have a table, and that it's only a table.
And a kitchen.
And a kitchen, a full-size kitchen. Whereas at the Art of Animation, you do get the kitchenette, which is like what we saw in the studio. So it has the microwave and things like that. But, you know, these are really pretty cool that they have that. The other thing that is at the villas is, you, as Tom mentioned, you have that full kitchen. And so it is really nice. Kind of think of a mini apartment.
It really is. It is a mini 1-bedroom apartment.
Right, exactly. But the other thing that makes it really special too is that in all of the villas, 1-bedroom is you get free in-room laundry, and it has laundry detergent included in there when you enter the room. So you have that. So you can either pack less clothes, or maybe you need to rewash your kiddo's favorite princess outfit to wear again, or, you know, hey, maybe you want to get your laundry done before you go home, so that's already finished. It's nice that is already available for all the 1-bedrooms.
Well, in a day and age of where you're paying for your bags to travel on most airlines, either whether it be to check bags, and some it's even just to put them in the overhead bin.
True.
You are paying for those. The fact that you can maybe pack a little bit less and wash a couple times during your 7-night or even 5-night vacation is a real benefit for sure. Now, again, I'm not going to say that is all worth the jump in price, but it sure does help when you think about it, when you do the math.
Right. And, you know, that's why I kind of wanted to bring up the Art of Animation, which is a wonderful location. No shade on that. Just trying to share with you that sometimes the villas can be less expensive, maybe not always, but sometimes. But they also bring with it some additional benefits as well. Now, the other benefit we really have to talk to, and we kind of teased it earlier, is balconies. And this is something I don't think we can even talk enough about how wonderful, right, honey?
We love a balcony. We do. I mean, there's just something nice about it. Again, maybe we're somebody who enjoys the rooms, spending a little more time in the rooms than some people. You're taking your vacation, you want to spend a lot of it in the parks. Maybe a balcony isn't really a priority for you, but it is for us personally, because we like to take that time to relax in the morning, maybe in the midday, or definitely in the evenings if we're not going to be at the parks, to just sit back, relax, enjoy. It could be a fantastic view. It can be a mediocre view, but just getting out sometimes is nice. And sometimes it's just, look, you're there with a family, you're fitting 4 or 5 people into a room. Sometimes you just need to take a step outside and just cool down a little bit, you know. Sometimes you just need that.
Right.
And it's good for that as well. There are just so many aspects about having a balcony that make your trip that much better.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And just having some things to really appreciate the environment around you. It really does make for a very special time. And if you're watching on YouTube, we've been trying to show some of this information to you as well, and share some of the spectacular views that we've taken from our resort rooms. And we were talking just recently about our stay over at Saratoga Springs, where we just had a resort view. So it was not any particular view, but we did get to see both the fireworks at both parks and
you mean at the Riviera.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
not at
Riviera.
Saratoga Springs. You're not going to see the fireworks probably from
at
Saratoga
Riviera.
Springs.
Sorry, I'm talking Saratoga Springs about that.
At the Riviera,
At the Riviera.
It was great.
And, when I was going through our pictures, I even found one of the times that we were staying at, and this one was at, I believe it was the boardwalk and resort view, but we could see a little bit of the fireworks as well, just from our balcony. So.
Yeah, from Epcot.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're not saying every view is perfect, and some of these views are staying at more preferred sites, but they also are available to just, again, we've talked about at the Poly, just sitting out on your balcony, listening to all the sounds and the theming that's going around and just feeling like you're transported and you're really on vacation.
Well, just recently, and you were mentioning a balcony at Saratoga Springs, and yes, we did not get fireworks views at Saratoga Springs. But recently we stayed at Saratoga Springs and we just had a little balcony that overlooked like a nice little retention pond. We could just sit out there. We sat out there with a nice cup of coffee in the morning, watched some ducks swimming around and playing. It was raining at the time lightly, and it was just kind of we were undercover, so it was nice. And it was just a nice little relaxing morning. Again, that's another thing. I mean, weather issues. I mean, maybe you need to stay in your room a little bit more because of the weather issues in Florida, which can be a bit temperamental. I don't know if you know, but Florida's going to Florida when it's talking about weather.
Yes.
Sometimes you are going to want to spend a little extra time in the room to let some of the weather clear. Having that balcony out there and you're undercover, you can still enjoy a nice balcony view and watch the rain move by or whatever.
Right.
And just, it's those kind of things help make it just a little bit better for you.
Right. Exactly. So, the other things that our benefit there is in terms of food options. The villas do have elevated restaurant, like a real restaurant there, as well as their quick service option. So if it's something that you're considering that, hey, I want to do a sit down at my resort, I don't have to transfer through the parks.
A lot of times they're multiple.
Right, exactly. We talked about that the pools are upgraded. I mean, and especially if you have little ones, the kiddie areas there are just amazing as well. The other nice thing that you might not know this and you might not know you need it, but at the Deluxe Villas, the pool areas have shower facilities, and it includes the Disney shampoo and conditioner and bath gel. This could be a real benefit, for example, on your checkout day, where you might still want to do a little bit of pool time. You have a little bit of time in the day, but you can't be in the room. You have to have already vacated the room. Go in the pool, and then you can shower and get dressed and ready to travel back home right there.
Right. If you have a little bit later flight, and yes, you need to be out of your room by a certain point, it's not worth it to you to pay for a full park ticket for that day because you're maybe cutting out a little bit before you feel it's useful. How can you spend the time? Yes, you can spend the time at the resort. You can spend the time by the pool. And yes, if you need to, afterwards, get a little shower. And so you feel a little bit refreshed before your flight.
Right. Or let's say you've been active and you're feeling, gee, I'm all sweaty and now I got to go sit on an airplane. There's a shower there for you, and they're really very well kept. They're beautiful and very convenient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think one thing you have not brought up that is a real benefit of staying at a deluxe villa is those extended hours. Because yes, everybody staying in a Disney resort does get the early entry.
Right.
But only those staying at the deluxe villas and some of these deluxe resorts are the ones who get to go at select parks later in the evening, past closing time, which again is another super benefit especially for some of the attractions that you may find difficulty getting in without like an hour and a half wait time.
Right, exactly.
Or hitting a lot of attractions in a short amount of time. plus getting great pictures with the park mostly empty.
Right.
It's really, really great. It's really it's a huge, enormous benefit to staying at one of these resorts.
Exactly. Thank you. I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah, it really is. And it just feels like a added benefit. Like they offer some of these things that you have to pay an extra ticket for. And here it's included with your park pass and staying at a deluxe villa.
And again, it's select parks on select nights. And yes, you still will need a ticket to that park to get in and a reservation, except for a good to go day, but for that park. But, the benefit is that the fact that, you have those extra hours, which are phenomenal. I mean, as someone who's done them, I can tell you it's a totally different experience if you can be there very late into the evening and take advantage of those extended hours, especially at Magic Kingdom, even at Epcot.
Yes. Good, yeah, for sure. And sometimes they switch it around to different parks. So depending on when you're going, you can find that information online. Just look for the extended hours feature. So, so when we talk about staying at the deluxe villas, it's really easy to focus on that price tag, right? And to think that it's just not possible. But there are some things, like we've mentioned, that don't really factor into the spreadsheet of what it makes your vacation that much better. And Disney days are long, and having a way to really decompress in a very comfortable place, having that quiet balcony, like you said, can really change the whole essence and rhythm of that trip. So, we hope today that we've given you some things to think about, that if you've been on the fence, maybe thinking about it or wishing for it, that we brought some ideas that possibly could make it work for you.
Yeah, it's not right for everybody. Your vacation is your vacation, and you spend your money and do what you want to do for yourself. But sometimes it might be right for you the more you think about it, when you put in all these other things and add them up. And, it might be right for you for just a single trip. It's not something you want to do every time, but maybe this is a special trip for a variety of reasons.
Right.
And so you want to maybe just spend a little bit more to get a few extra added bonuses. And so Michelle did a fantastic job of breaking down some of those. And there are many more. There are many more reasons why you may want to consider it.
Right.
At least think about it. Whether you pull the trigger on it and decide it's right for you, no. But at least put everything into the equation of when you decide, or where you decide you want to stay for your Disney vacation.
Right. And like we said, if it's something that you've only hoped for and thought it wasn't really doable, maybe it can be.
It can be. It can be. Do the math, as we always say. Do the math, figure it out, and also figure out what's valuable for you on your vacation. What is this vacation about? What are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
What are the benefits of this room versus that room versus this resort versus that resort? What does it work out for you? Find out what's best, and then make the decision and have a great time no matter where you stay.
Exactly.
So that is a nice look by Michelle, who always does the best looks at these, to try and just figure out for yourself, hey, is a Disney Deluxe Villa right for me?
It's a piece of cake. To stand out above the crowd, even if I gotta shout out loud. Your mind is the only face you see. Gonna stand out, hey, stand out, yeah. Stand out. Your mind is the only face you see. Gonna stand out till you notice me.
So thanks again, Michelle. Great job of breaking that down and helping you think about, hey, could I actually do a deluxe villa on my next Disney vacation? The numbers are there for you. You decide for yourself what's right.
Thank you, honey. And I hope that you all find this helpful. And if you do end up changing your plans or making plans to a villa, we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, definitely. Want to celebrate you if you decide to make a splurge. Again, could this be a regular thing for you that you may, we've done moderates, but maybe a deluxe villa does make more sense for us? Or is it just one big blast shindig thing where you're just going to, like, this time we're going for it. We're doing deluxe villas, even if it's just for a couple nights on your vacation. Do a split stay, say somewhere that's a moderate or a value, and then just for a couple nights, enjoy a couple days at a deluxe villa.
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea, honey.
There you go. All right, let's go ahead and move forward, because we do have A little bit of Disney stories of the week. It was a light week, but it was big news this week because we've had a change at the top of the Walt Disney Company. Yes, that's right. The Walt Disney Company held their annual shareholders meeting on Wednesday. And of course, the biggest thing about that was the transition at the top by Bob Iger, who steps down as CEO after holding that position for two stints, one time from 2005 to 2020, and then he came back in 2020 until just this year. He's taken a step back and kind of going to live the good life, I think, for a little while after this. During his time with Disney, by the way, he's pretty much greatly expanded this company. We know, we love it. I mean, you can say what you want about some of the things, how you think about how he's addressed some situations recently, but his legacy is pretty huge with this company. I mean, he acquired Pixar. He acquired Marvel. He acquired Lucasfilm, which includes Star Wars and Indiana Jones. 20th Century Fox he's brought in, brings great franchises like Avatar and The Simpsons along with that. He opened Shanghai Disney, another wonderful, amazing Disney theme park, and of course greatly expanded the Disney Cruise Line fleet during his time with Disney. Some great growth and progression for the Walt Disney Company under Bob Iger. I think he's done a phenomenal job, and his legacy is huge within this company for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It's really the company that he acquired to the company it is today is very different. A lot of things that broaden the appeal of Disney throughout different types of audiences and what attracts different audiences or fans to things. And it's just really exciting. It's been an exciting ride to see all that happen, and looking forward now to the next era of Disney with their newest CEO.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because I think Bob has done, and I just spoke about it. He's done phenomenal things for this company, and his legacy, it runs deep throughout it. But I do believe that maybe it was time for some new blood, somebody who has a little bit more of their finger on the pulse nowadays. So I'm glad of where they're transitioning to. As you probably know, Josh D'Amaro is assuming the role of CEO, or assumed the role of CEO on that day. He's, by the way, spent 27 years with the Walt Disney Company. So he's been with this group for a long time. It's not like they just brought him in a few years ago from someplace else. He's been with Disney for a long time. Of course, most recently, he was in the role of the chairman of Disney Experiences. Been that since I believe it was 2020. Which is basically oversees the parks and the cruise line, among many, many other things. And I think he's a great face. I think he's a great personality. I think he has the charisma you need for this position. But more importantly, what I also love is that also beginning today, or on that day, Dana Walden takes over officially as Chief Creative Officer. So it's kind of that two-headed thing, which I think Disney always runs best on. Josh D'Amaro overseeing everything, of course, but mostly focusing on the parks and that aspect where he really knows really well. And then Dana Walden, who is tied into the entertainment industry and will help with that portion of it and the creative portion of Disney, which is a huge aspect of Disney. I think the fact that they can kind of divide and conquer, but also unite, I think is a huge thing for Walt Disney Company going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you really strongly on that. I think, like you said, having that balance in the executive suite has really been beneficial for the company, as we've seen in the past. So I think that's really good. I think the other thing with Josh that he brings is he does, you kind of mentioned it when you said he has the pulse of the fans. He is somebody who will go out and actually speak with people and hear what their feedback is. And I think that's always been something that has been a strength for him that he brings to this role as well. And I think that's something he will expect, of all his leaders is to have that kind of ability to really understand what the fans are thinking in the moment. And I think that's good. I like his vision of One Disney, and seeing what the company is and how all the great things about the company have that unifying thread or tie through them.
Exactly. He had some great messages. One, he wrote an open letter to the cast members, to the employees of the Walt Disney Company, and has had some really nice and touching things to say about them and how important they are to the company. And then, of course, throughout this shareholders meeting, the shareholders meeting is always a rah, here we go. We're awesome. This is us. We're fantastic. He had some great things to say about what's coming for this company as well. And we also saw a nice touching tribute to Bob Iger within that as well, which again, well deserved for him. So, of course, along with those announcements, yes, there were some other things that came out of this. There usually are for the shareholders meeting. It was not like it was super groundbreaking. It's not like it's a D23 light or anything, but there were some interesting stuff. We did get a clip from Toy Story 5. We got to see Jessie in a bit of a confrontation with what is expected to be Toy Story 5's antagonist, which is a tablet named Lilypad. It's toys versus tech in that, of course.
Right.
Was a really cute little scene that they showed.
Yeah, hilarious. The more I see, the more trailers I see of this, the more I just am so excited. I'm sure other people are feeling that way too, because it really looks like it has a very humorous side, but a lot of things that everybody can kind of understand or associate with. And this is, I think, going to be a really special film.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. Just coming up here in July, right?
Yeah.
It's not too that far away.
I think it's June.
It's June. That's right. It's June. Yeah, it's not too far away. So very excited for that. Also, yeah. We also learned about since I can't get the release dates right, we learned the release dates for a couple highly anticipated films that I will forget when they come around. The sequel to the live action hit Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch 2 will hit theaters on May 26th. 2028, and just a few weeks later, the next installment of Pixar's phenomenal superhero franchise, Incredibles 3, will debut on the big screen on June 16th of 2028. That's going to be an exciting time.
Yeah,
at the box office, for sure.
yeah. That's some real. I think some really great sequels that are coming up that we can all look forward to.
Right. So funny enough, the biggest announcement almost came across seemingly like a little bit of an afterthought, because when Josh D'Amaro was speaking, he's like, yes, and now we're going to reveal the name of Disney Cruise Line's next ship in the Wish class, and he's like, it's the Disney Believe, and then he just moved right on, and we're like, whoa, it seems like there should have been more fanfare.
I know,
for
like
that,
a pause
right?
and drum roll or something, or it was just like part of a run-on sentence there.
Right. I guess they wanted to save the big stuff for because a lot of stuff came out on social media after that. The big video they put out, Disney Parks, Disney Cruise Line put out after that, and it was really cool. And there was some stuff that dropped on the websites as well. So yes, the next Disney ship, next Wish class ship will be now named the Disney Believe, which I love. Ted Lasso approves of Believe 100%. So this is what Disney Cruise Line's website quickly had to say about it. And by the way, you can sign up to get more information. I found out as I checked this out about as the information starts flowing in for the Disney Believe. It said, get ready to venture beyond the horizon, experience the magic of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars in new and exciting ways. This is about the Disney Believe. The Disney Parks blog continued this discussion saying, on board the Disney Believe, powerful tales of characters who believe in themselves and their dreams will come to life in exciting new ways, from the mystical worlds of Encanto and Frozen, I like that, to the wishing wells of Snow White, to the depths of the sea with Moana and The Little Mermaid. There are endless stories waiting to be discovered and new chapters ready to unfold on board. Obviously, we don't know a lot of details about this ship, but I think you're getting a little teases on what you might find on board in that little paragraph right there.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about, especially with the Destiny and also with the Treasure, how theming has really been bumped up in these ships. Obviously, the Wish had it as well, but I think once they got to the Destiny, it's like they really understood that whole concept of how do you build theming throughout the experience and the entire ship, etc. And so this with Believe has so many opportunities and great characters, and I'm like, wow. Who do you think is going to be like let's say in the dining room, because I know they have like, the Wish has Frozen, the Treasure has Coco, and the Destiny has Lion King. Who do you think is going to be that specialty dining room for the Believe?
So I think we're going to get much more into this as we get towards the D23 Expo, because I think a lot about information about this ship will probably mostly be released then. It might be before that, but I think a lot of it will be released then. I feel that when you're just talking about the things they mentioned, that Encanto shouts like that is one. They know how popular that franchise is. I believe there's going to be a new Encanto movie. They're getting ready to open up a new Encanto area within Disney Animal Kingdom Park. But when you combine the characters and the music and everything that they like to do in that one dining room, I feel like Encanto makes sense in that room.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have a strong feeling that could be it. The one thing that makes me think maybe it could be something else is it might be able to put Moana there and then Encanto have as their main show.
That's a good point. Yeah, but since they already have a Moana show on another ship, that maybe you flip-flop those and do the Encanto show and the Moana dining experience. Or maybe Little Mermaid too, because I mentioned Little Mermaid. But anyway, any of those are great. I'm excited to find out more about this ship, and we will be in the coming months. I would definitely expect it. Again, it's not the D23 Expo, but I will always call it that, the D23 Expo in August. I think we'll get a lot more details on that. Yeah. By the way, this ship will be debuting in late 2027, so it might not be that far away till we start actually receive some dates of when she'll be sailing officially, and if you want to book like the maiden voyage coming up here at the end of next year.
Right. Yeah.
So really cool.
Exactly.
Really great stuff. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And when we do this, well, of course we start with Michelle because she's amazing, wonderful, all things good in the world. You just heard it. She breaks down the best reasons for you to splurge on a Disney vacation. Thusly, she obviously does the best research. But one thing is for very certain, she always has the very best tips. So let's get to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
Well, thank you, honey. Since we did this episode on staying at the villas and we mentioned about the extended evening hours, I thought I'd give a little bit more about that as a tip. They typically are happening on Mondays and Wednesdays in one designated park. You can see what dates and which parks and the time frames during that 60-day calendar that you can see either online or on the app. And be sure that you're looking at extended evening hours, which is different than the paid ticket event that's called the after hours. But it's also a good thing to check as you get closer to the date in case they've made some park date time frame changes, so you might want to know that. The other thing that as a tip I want to share with you, I know there's been a lot out on social media that there's been some clips and pictures of the new Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin that's been refurbished. Well, on the day that is debuting, April 8th, Magic Kingdom has extended hours for people staying at the villas. So you might get to try it on the actual opening date too if you wait even till the evening.
Yeah, you're coming up on it. Hopefully you have a stay already booked if you're going to do that, because it might be a little tough to get there now. But that's awesome. That would be great for somebody who wants to experience it on that first day.
But if you can't get it that day, when they do have the extended evening hours at the Magic Kingdom, that is one of the attractions that's available.
We've done the extended evening hours at Magic Kingdom, and let me tell you, it is as good as gold.
Yeah.
It is so awesome to be there when it's diminishing lines, not many people there. You get great photos. You get a lot of attractions that you may struggle to get on at other parts of the day. You get a lot in during that time.
Yeah.
So definitely take advantage of that. Michelle's tip, always the best tip. My tip this week, this week was the official general booking or general registration day for the Run Disney Walt Disney World races. And I know I saw it. We didn't try this time because we were planning on maybe doing some other races. This year was our big Run Disney year. Next year, I think we're going to peel back just a little bit. So we weren't trying for this one, but I saw from a lot of people's posts online that some of you were lucky, but a lot of you weren't, and you weren't able to nab that race that you wanted or all 4 races that you wanted. Well, I want to remind you that even if you weren't able to snag those bibs, there are still opportunities for you to do so through a variety of ways, including there are many amazing charities out there that have those bibs that you can sign up with, and you can raise money for these great foundations to help them. Or even just if you just cover the cost of your race, essentially, and give them that money, you can have those bibs to those races. That is one way to do it, and it's really a great cause and well worth your time to do so. Go check it out. You can search for them online. You can find them everywhere. There are lots of those available for you. I already saw people that failed, and they're like, well, I went and got a charity bib already.
Yeah.
They just jumped on it already. But they are available for you. Also, keep checking back, because occasionally, at times, they will reopen some of those bibs to you, especially as you get a little bit closer to those races, because some of these charities do not, get to get those bibs out. And so they return them to Run Disney. And then sometimes these pop open, but that can be happening a lot of times during the several months leading into next January's races. So keep checking back. There are social media accounts that check on it too, but by the time you see it on social media, a lot of times they're already gone. So keep checking back yourself. You never know what might pop up, Michelle.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely worth it. And like you said, the charity bibs, then you feel like you're not just going and having fun, but there's a purpose behind your run.
Some people will just do that. Like, I don't even care. I'm not going to deal with the registration. And this is for such a great cause. And they treat their people that run for their charity so well a lot of times. Sometimes there are special events or special meeting spots at these Run Disney events that sometimes it's just worth it just to go ahead and do that. So definitely check into that. But yeah, congratulations to everybody who has a bib for the Walt Disney World Marathon weekend, and we're hoping the best for everybody else who is still looking to snag those bibs for sure.
Right, exactly. Great tip, honey.
Thanks, sweetheart. So that's it for this week's show. Next week, well, we're going to delve into one of the most iconic Disney attractions with someone who might be equally as iconic. Well, maybe not to that level, but pretty close. Pretty close. We'll be speaking with an award-winning director and storyboard artist, Ken Bruce. He's worked on some of the films you'll love, including Toy Story 3 and Up. He's also worked on The Simpsons. He's worked on Family Guy. But more recently, he's written a book that dives deeply into the creation of one of our favorite attraction, Walt Disney World's Enchanted Tiki Room. The book is called Before the Birds Sang Words. It's a great book, and we can't wait to have him join us to talk all about it, Michelle.
Yeah, some amazing stories that delve into the history of that attraction. And we've been fascinated by everything that we've been reading about it, and can't wait to have him on and share that passion and all those great things for everybody to hear.
The history goes way back farther than you think, and how the development of that attraction came about. And you're going to want to hear all about it. Plus, Ken's great guy. Done a lot of things, very accomplished, and boy, does he do some great work on the research for this book. So yeah, you're going to be excited to hear this next week. That is next week. As for this week's show, we appreciate that you join us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
please sign up for the newsletter.
It's all full of Michelle-ness, so you know you're going to love it, because Michelle is the best. That's all there is to that. Also, we're on social media. We're on #always Twitter and Blue Sky at Hyperion Podcast. Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. If you are on Facebook, come on over and join us for some good, positive Disney energy fun on our Hyperion Adventurers Facebook group. Also, we're on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to find us there, we're at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. And if you ever want to correspond with us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
And we just want to remind you that we do have some wonderful swag available that you can purchase through our Spreadshirt shop. It's not just t-shirts. It's a lot of different variety of items that you can get with our logos. Tom's designed several amazing logos that we always get compliments in the park when wearing some of that gear. So check it out. Go to our Linktree account and find our Spreadshirt shop and and do some shopping.
Yeah, there's lots of great stuff there for you to enjoy. So yeah, and thanks to anybody who's ever not only purchased anything from that site, but even just checked it out and thought about it.
Yeah.
We appreciate you so very much. And we appreciate you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.